Hello friends, we continue our online lesson with plastids. They are cellular organelles in cytoplasm of plant cell. Plastids are difference between plant cell and animal cell. We need to know they are found just in plant cell but not in animal cells. They have different shapes, size and colors. They can be in different shapes, and we're going to classify the plastids according to their color and function in three types. The first one, chromoplast, which contain different pigments. Pigments means colorful substance. These pigments give color to flowers and fruits. Main function of chromoplast is giving the color flowers and fruits, like red color of apple, orange color of carrot, or yellow color of banana. All depend on pigments in chromoplast. The second type, leucoplast, means colorless plast. We may remember from leukocytes, which colorless blood cells or white blood cells. Leucoplast, which are centers for converting glucose into polysaccharide like starch or into fats or oils and proteins. We know plants produce glucose by photosynthesis, but in different kind of plants we can see different kind of organic material, like potato full of starch, but in olive we see a lot of oil, or in beans, broad beans, there are proteins. So leucoplast, center for converting glucose, sugar, into complex sugar like starch or into fats or proteins. The white matter in potato, for example, results from colorless plastids and full of starch, and it's a ministry exam question asked before. The white color of the potato, like causes, explain. It's about what? About starch stored in leucoplasts. Chloroplasts. Dear friends, we study chloroplast, chromoplast, and leucoplast, but because their structure all similar, we focus only on one of them, chloroplasts. Chloroplasts, they are common in plants. Green part of plants, all about chloroplasts. Just like mitochondria, surrounded by double-layered membrane. We remember mitochondria. Chloroplast also has what? Two membranes. Inside the membrane there are two structures, grana and stroma. We may remember mitochondria, outer membrane smooth but inner membrane make fold like crystal. In chloroplast too, the outer membrane is smooth but inner membrane make different structures like flat vesicle stuck on one another, and we call each of this structure as granum. Granum, not only one, there are maybe many set of this granum, and they all, we can call them as grana. Granum, singular form, grana, plural form of these structures which formed by inner membrane of chloroplast. And this grana embedded in a fluid, like there are matrix in mitochondria. There's also fluid fill the cavity of chloroplast known as stroma. Stroma is the liquid transparent material which fills the inner space of plastids. It contains grana, which contains chlorophyll, means green color, a pigment which give color to the leaves of plants, especially located in these membranes of grana, in that membranes, and they give green color to different parts of plant. And after we're going to call the membrane, this membrane of grana, which contain the chlorophyll material, which give green color, as thylakoid membrane. Chloroplasts contribute in photosynthesis. This process needs pigments to absorb solar power and enzyme to produce carbohydrates. Solar power and enzymes. These pigments, chlorophyll, for example, exist on grana membrane, which we call it thylakoid membrane. CO2 reducing enzymes. My friends, CO2 reduction means photosynthesis, similar meaning, which exist in stroma, help chloroplast with photosynthesis process. You may remember photosynthesis, two series of reactions, light reactions and dark reactions. In membranes, because light absorb it and use it in thylakoid membrane, light reactions takes place, but reactions without light takes place in stroma. We call them dark reactions. So both stroma and thylakoid membrane, they help what? Help photosynthesis, help chloroplast to perform its function. We know photosynthesis is process of plants using CO2 and H2O to produce organic materials like glucose. Also, we can call photosynthesis as organic anabolism, or photosynthesis or CO2 reduction. They all mean same, is function of chloroplast. Thylakoid membrane, a capsule structure formed by inner membrane of the plastids. It contains chlorophyll and enzymes which help in photosynthesis. But in picture we can see some yellow colored structures. There are starch drop. We know chloroplasts produce glucose, but after we said leucoplasts take this glucose, convert into some organic materials like starch or proteins or lipids and store it. But we studied only structure of chloroplast, and we said other structure of other plastids are same. So as time passes in plants, like potato at the first it's in white color, after change into green color, but ripe potato, mature tomato in red color. As we see, color of it change from green to red. So green color about chloroplast, but red color means chromoplast. It tells us that one of these plastids can change to another structure similar, but color depend on material found in their cytoplasm or in their cavity. Questions about chloroplast. Question can be asked to compare it with mitochondria. How both of them covered by two membranes, but inner membrane in mitochondria form crista, in chloroplast forms grana. Mitochondria filled by materia, we call it matrix, but chloroplast filled by jelly-like fluid materia, we call it stroma. Mitochondria contain respiratory enzyme to have cellular respiration. Chloroplasts contain CO2 reducing enzymes to perform its function, CO2 reduction or photosynthesis. Mitochondria present in plant and animal cells, while chloroplasts found only in plant cells. Yes. Another question, we need to know definition for stroma, jelly-like fluid which fills the cavity of chloroplast and contain CO2 reducing enzymes. We need to know definition for thylakoid membrane, capsule structure formed inner membrane of plastids, contain chlorophyll and enzyme and help photosynthesis. Or we need to know grana from previous page, inner membrane of chloroplast form structures known as grana. Lysosomes, they are vesicles surrounded by monolayer membrane. Why I say monolayer membrane? Because the organelle before we study covered by two membranes. and after, let's say monolayer membrane means just one membrane. It contains many lyses, means digestive enzymes. These enzymes are responsible for digestion in cell. Lysosomes are found in almost all cells. This is all cells, but about eukaryotic cells, especially those that have the ability of phagocytosis, which we study in next page, means cellular eating. We know eating need what? Need digestion. So the food which we eat are digested in our stomach, but the food cell eat digested by lysosome. Like neutrophils, in a neutrophil example for white blood cells, which are part of defensive mechanism in human body, devour or phagocyte bacteria, so they contain a lot of digestive enzymes for digestion of germ cells or bacterial cells. Lysosome have several functions in cell. It cleans the cytoplasm from food particles, digestion, mitochondria pieces, and mitochondria get older, become non-functional, so non-functional mitochondria also digested by lysosome. Microorganisms like neutrophil cells digest microorganisms and other impurities in cell. So we can call the lysosome as cleaner units in cell. So any impurity, part of any organelles or food or wastes are cleaned from cytoplasm. Number 2, lysosomes play a vital role in metamorphosis. Metamorphosis means change in shape of animals or organisms, but we will study this metamorphosis in next parts of our book as changes, sudden changes happen in body of organisms. So lysosome play a vital role in this changes body of organisms. For example, frog larva tail disappear when frog become adult. The larva frog, like a fish with a long tail, swim in water. But as they grow up, become mature frog, they lose their long tail, but they produce fish. The long tail, how it disappears? By all cells in the tail, lysosomes release their digestive enzymes in the cytoplasm of cell, and all parts of cell is digested by itself. And the tail disappears. This process is done by releasing enzyme from lysosomes to the cell cytoplasm. This process digests the content of cytoplasm and finally death of cell by a process called autolysis. Means automatically cell digests itself. Lysosome digests the part of cell it included in. This process lyses bodies of living organisms after death. Animal, plant or human body, after death, many body parts decay and disappear by bacteria, but also depend on lysosomes. Lysosomes destroy the cell which they contain them after death of organism, as we study in this part 2, as similar. They recycle elements in nature through autolysis. We know how body parts of organisms die and decay, change into the soil, and this soil used by plants to grow. The plant parts are eaten by animals. Animals again die, become change, body decay, change into the soil. So make a cycle. So the recycle of elements through autolysis depend on what? Lysosomes. So these 4 functions of lysosome we need to know. So in Ministry exam asks you to write the function of lysosome. We have to talk about all these 4 functions, but only one difference when we talk about just function of lysosome. For this long paragraph, it's enough to write until frog. The remaining parts about autolysis. Autolysis generally is being asked as an independent question, as a definition. Cytoskeleton, eukaryotic cells have distinctive system of microfilaments and tubules. Two main components of cytoskeleton, tubules and microfilaments, or we call them also microtubules, which form the skeleton of cell. These are considered as support the cell and maintain its form. This system used by many cells in moving and transferring organelles inside the cell. So we can focus on function. They are considered support. 1, maintain the form of cell. 2, help in movement. 3, and transferring organelles or some materials inside the cell. 4, functions of cytoskeleton. Just like skeletal system in human body, also it helps movement with muscles. It support our internal organs or support also muscles, give shape to the whole body, and also provide movement. Microfilaments, one of two main components of cytoskeleton. They are thin straight structures first observed in muscle cells. When they first observed in muscle cells are rich in these microfilaments. Two types are these microfilaments: actin microfilaments, which have actin protein, and myosin filaments, which myosin protein. Its name depends on protein they contain. Both are responsible for expansion and contraction of cells. My friends, we know any movement in body of organisms, especially animals and human body, depend on muscle cell. Because muscle, they are unique types of cell which can move and also have movement of body. So any part of our body there is a movement is about muscle cells. But why muscle cells are unique for this kind of movement? Because they have this actin and myosin fibers more than other cells in body of organisms. Microtubules, they are larger than microfilaments and have tubular structures consisting of protein called tubulin. Microtubules play a vital role in chromosome movement during cell division. In addition, they are important for cytoskeleton in organization, transfer of materials, say vital chromosome movement and other function. They major elements in formation of cilium and flagella. So any organism has cilia and flagella. They contain a lot of microtubules. Exist in animal the cell cytoplasm and other primitive organisms like algae, fungi, situated near the nucleus and form centrosomes. So an organization of microtubules near the nucleus in animal cell or algae and fungi, it's form another organelle, we call it centrosome. The centrosome has pair of centrioles. Centriole, another centriole, but both of them together we call it centrosome. And centrosome found in animal cell but not present in plant cells. So as a comparison between plant cell and animal cell, another difference is presence of centrosome. Each of which cylinder consists of non-triple groups. We can count the number 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 group, but 9 triple groups of microtubules. The centrosome double during cell division. Two centrosomes move apart to the opposite side of cell and connect together through spindle fibers. Although centrosomes are not found in plant cell, yet there is a center of creating microtubules and microfilaments. And isn't there any microtubules or filament in plant cell? Yes, there are a lot of them, but not produced by centrosome. Some other part of cell produce it. So if we look the location for centrosome, situated near the nucleus. Structure made up of 2 centrioles, each of which consists of 9 triple groups of microtubules. Function, my friends, because in this paragraph we didn't see function. but because centrosome in cell division we're going to study, it doubles during cell division, move to opposite side, produce spindle fibers, but main function has movement of chromosomes to different side of cell. So this microtubules play vital role in chromosome movement during cell division. Also this function, we can write it for centrosome.